Welcome back to Hardcore Ultimate Iron Man. Today, the Ardougne Easy Diary. But first, we need to complete Biohazard Quest. But first, we have to complete Plague City Quest. So there's a lot of steps here. First up, we need buckets. We need more buckets than these. This is like 100 buckets? I don't need 100 buckets. I only need 5. So we're going to do a quick world hop here. Grab 2 more buckets. Not that 100 buckets would be too expensive for me or anything. It's just then they'd be noted, I'd have to go to a bank. It'd be a whole process. Not right now. With these buckets, we need to fill 4 of them with water, which is easy enough to do. Right here in the Lumbridge Castle Courtyard. Empty the other bucket. Run into the kitchen here. Grab a knife, which we're going to need. We've got a long list of things that are going to be required here. So next, we've got the spade, which is my farming spade. So that's already been taken care of last time. Next bucket, we need to fill with some milk from this dairy cow here. Long ago, used to be able to milk any cow. No longer the case. But there's a dairy cow in most cow fields, so not a huge inconvenience. There's the bucket of milk. Check. I suppose we can go to drainer for the rope. There are multiple sources of rope that we could go to. But this is on the way, so might as well. And we are out of run energy. Well, that's what we have Graceful for, I suppose. And cutting the video between things. Save you all that time walking around. There's a rope. Fantastic. We are making our way over towards the boat to Ardougne. So this is working out very well. Next on the list, Snape Grass. Right over here on Hobgoblin Peninsula. Which has an interesting, I would call it like a cousin over here on Zaya and Hosidius, the much larger Hobgoblin Peninsula. But this one also has fishing spots, so that's interesting. But now, that's the last thing we're going to be able to get over here on this side of the map. So we're going to use this super convenient boat over to Ardougne. It's so much more convenient than having to walk across Kramja. But by the end of this, we will no longer need to worry about that boat. The whole reason we're here, to get a better way to get over here. Trade the baker, get a chocolate bar, slice it up, chocolate dust. And now we just need one more item. Typically, I would go to McGrubber's Woods, up near Camelot. McGruber's Woods, to get the Dwellberry. But I don't have 45 magic or fairy rings yet, so that's a little bit out of the way. So instead, I'm going to make use of one of my other teleportation options, which is the Spirit Trees, to go up to the Gnome Stronghold. Always love a good teleport. Super convenient. And then we just head up here, trade Hecklefunch to get the Dwellberries we need. Now here is a slightly interesting thing you can do. I'm not sure exactly which order this was in. This was definitely before that. But the hangover cure that you make during this quest is used in at least one other location. But you can actually make it before doing the quest. Unlike some other quest things, where you very specifically need to have completed the steps before you can do this. So you take your bucket of milk, you make chocolate milk, add some snapegrass, and you got a hangover cure. I wouldn't expect anybody to randomly stumble upon that without actually having the information or knowing it already exists. That could be a fun little Easter egg, kinda. Or they just decided to just allow you to make it. Didn't put the checks in to make sure you couldn't. Either way, that is everything we need to start our questing. Quest starts over here in northwestern East Ardougne. It's a bit of a mouthful. Over here with Edmund. We just say hello, and he goes into his story of his missing daughter. So we offer to help. Not just asking for a quest, they're more of giving us a situation that we can respond to. She went into West Ardougne to help with plague victims and has not returned. So we need to get in there, figure out what's going on. First, we're going to need a gas mask. So his wife, Alrina, can take our Dwellberries to fit into the gas mask to be effective. We're also going to need this picture in here, which is conveniently located. And now we're ready to go. Edmund recommends that we head into the sewers here by softening up the mud in their little garden back here. 4 entire buckets of water dumped right here. And a dig. We fall into the sewers, which is not great. Generally not what you want. But in this instance, it's going to get us where we're going. We are not capable of pulling the grill off of the pipe, so we bring the rope to make it easier, give us more leverage, and get Edmund to help. Get an amazing cutscene here, where it's weirdly loose next to the pipe. When it works, it works. Edmund tells us to look for Jethic once we're up here. So we're going to climb up the pipe. Nobody seems to mind the guy that just climbed out of the sewers. So I guess we're just not going to worry about that. We're managing. We're managing. We ask Jethic about where Elena is, and he gives us information. She is staying, or was staying at least, with the Renison family, and he has a book to return to them. So we come in under the guise of returning the book and quickly change the subject to Elena. She's been kidnapped. And Millie saw what happened. She was dragged into a building in the southern part of the city. Not ideal. Not ideal. So we're going to see if we can bust on in there. Solve this problem. Here's the city. Here's the building. But the mourners won't let us in. There's a kidnapped victim. But they don't want me to go in there. We need to get proper clearance. But they don't expect us to be able to manage. The options are either talk to the mourners, but they do not care, or we can come up here and talk to Bravik. Talk to the clerk. We need emergency authorization. So the clerk lets us in. And this is where we needed the hangover cure. It's written on this scruffy note. It's not really a riddle or anything, but it's a bucket of milk, chocolate, grind it with pestle and mortar, or a knife. Add the ground chocolate to the milk, add some snape grass. I'm sure if it was a later quest, they could have done a slightly different look to this. But this works. So we give him a hangover cure. And it's just what he needs. The mourners are not being very helpful. So we get our warrant. They didn't think we could do it. But we did. So now we get right on in here. For some reason, when I show them the warrant, he talks to his friend, and I go in anyways. How I managed to sneak in when the other one is clearly looking at me is a good question, but I'm not gonna question it. It's a question that's not worth questioning. Grab a key, unlock a door, and here is Elena. I say the kidnappers aren't here, but there's those two guys guarding the door, so I don't know. They feel kind of connected, in my opinion. But I guess she managed to sneak by, at any rate. Let me just run back through the sewers. Back out to East Ardougne. Not a bad little quest here. One quest point, 2,425 mining experience, and an Ardougne teleport scroll. Also, that's 50 quest points. 29 mining. 725 total level. 50 quest points allows us to block a Slayer task. And this Ardougne teleport scroll allows us to use Artie teleport. Assuming we had 51 magic, which we don't. But again, that's kind of a mute point at this point, because we're going to be getting a better option. So now, we move swiftly on to the next quest. Let's see if we can grab some stuff before starting the quest. over here at Jericho's house. Search this cupboard for some bird seed. Guess pigeons really love this stuff. Cannot be done. Well, we know where it is. We'll be back soon, Jericho. Don't you worry. Elena has moved in over here with a very inconvenient door which blocks off the only way to go further into the room until it closes. But anyways, she needs to get her stuff back, which was confiscated. The tunnel has been filled in, so we are fresh out of luck for going back through the sewers to get back into West Ardougne. We've got a new option over with Jericho. I guess it's only polite to at least talk to him before we start rummaging through his cupboards. He has a plan to get across the wall with the help of pigeons. So we need some bird seed and a pigeon cage. Now what are we going to do with this? We threw the bird feed all over this watchtower, and we released the pigeons. The mourners are now very distracted by all the pigeons flying all over the place. And that's just what we need to come down here, talk to Omar, and get on in to West Ardougne. Yeah, fancy rope ladder. Another guy on the other side. And we can now escape if we wanted to. The Mourner HQ is where we need to go. Don't mind me. Just coming on in to the headquarters. Only mourners allowed, huh? I really want to come in here. You should probably just let me in. Alright. We're gonna do this the hard way then. And by that I mean, we're going to take a random rotten apple that we find and throw it into their stew. You place the rotten apple in the pot. It quickly dissolves into the stew. They're gonna have a bad time. That wasn't very nice. But they didn't let me just waltz into their headquarters, so this is what happens. Now they are ill with food poisoning. We need to go see the nurse. Everything's gonna be fine. Of course, we continue to use this to our advantage by, instead of going and getting the nurse, we'll just deal with this ourselves. Open a cupboard. Take out a medical gown. And now they're gonna let me in. I'm the same guy that was just here, but now I'm a doctor, I guess. So we can just waltz straight on in. They didn't think there was a doctor. And I'm the same guy that was already here, just moments ago. But they're fine with this plan, I guess. But instead of helping, come up here and kill them. I never agreed to the Hippocratic Oath. I just stole this shirt. So this guy gets to die. We take his key, open the gate, grab Elena's distillator. And that's all we need to do here. Not helping, only hurting. They shouldn't have took it in the first place. Now we're going to run right past the door, which we're not allowed to go through. And instead we're just going to climb back over with the rope ladder. Presumably the mourners are still being distracted by the pigeons, I guess. Or there's no way they'd allow us to do this whole rope ladder thing. Although it is pretty far away. We got scale theory going again. So, they probably couldn't see a ladder all the way over there. I'm sure it's fine. Anyways, we got the thing that we needed. So now, we can return it to Elena. I found it, and there's only a tiny bit of murder. She does some testing on a plague sample and finds that there's problems. She didn't find anything, which is suspicious. So now we are tasked with heading to Remington to get some more touch paper. And then continuing on to Varrock. To get to Remington, we're using the boat again. Just makes sense. This really is super conveniently located with this boat. Hello, chemist. I just need some touch paper. It has also informed us that there is a guard in Varrock looking for suspicious individuals with tons of chemistry stuff. So we need to use these guys to bring the items over there less suspiciously. We've got a drunk, a gambler, and a painter. We've got some poison, some honey, and some stuff. Give the poison to the alcoholic. And hopefully he doesn't drink it. Should be smart enough to not mess that up. And we'll see him in Varrock. Give the honey to Chansey, because it's not very expensive. There are very expensive honeys, but apparently that's not one of them. And then the colorless Athenia we give to Da Vinci. Luckily for us, the plague sample and some touch paper is not going to be enough to derail this whole thing. Before we get over there, a trade Celestia here. Celestalia. Get some pre-scans. We pretended to be a doctor, now we're pretending to be a priest. We wear many hats, but mostly just this gas mask. Here is the very interesting looking guard. He's got like a full hazmat suit kind of thing going on. And a halberd. He's looking for suspicious individuals. I've got a gas mask and priest robes. But apparently, that's fine. I got a plague sample, some touch paper. It is how it is. Let me just grab the stuff back from these guys. They managed to not drink or sell any of the items. So we can come on in here to Guidor. His wife wants him to see a priest, and that's what the priest robes are for. But I'm not a priest. I'm the plague carrier from West Ardougne. We give him all the things, and he also doesn't get a reaction. So the plague sample is not a plague sample. This confirms Elena's report. And now we need to go back over there to talk to her. Hey, Elena. Eudor says there was nothing. So now we need to figure out what is actually going on here. We're going straight to the top. We're gonna go bother the king. Wouldn't be the first time, but here we are. As adventurers, we just kind of waltz into castles, bothering the monarchy, as you do. Hey, King Lathis. He doesn't like our tone. But we have conclusive proof of his shenanigans. And the reason? A dark lord corrupted his brother, whole bunch of mess, down in the caves. So to stop the spread of the Dark Lord, they concocted this whole ruse to wall off West Ardougne. Maybe just collapse the tunnel, but I don't know. You do you, I guess. There is 3 quest points, 1250 thieving XP. We can now go to West Ardougne without all the rope ladders and nonsense. And we can go to the training camp. And the training camp is what we needed from completing this for the achievement diary. There are a few other items that we need to go get in order to complete the diary. So we're heading way over to Lumbridge again to go get some stuff. Down in the Ham Caves, we stole a rusty sword, which is actually super useful. That is one of the items we need for the achievement diary. Was a little bit annoying. Thieving level is not particularly high, and we don't have the full ham robes to get caught less and thrown out less. So that could have been quicker, but really can't complain. Didn't take a huge amount of time. Manageable. And completely worth it. And the other item we need is a piece of silk, which you can get from the silk trader here in Al-Kharid. Technically, you can also get silk in Ardougne, but the actual thing you need to do for the diary is to sell the silk to the silk merchants there. And if you steal their silk, they are none too happy about it. So you'd have to wait a significant amount of time. So, want to get this done sooner, so we're just going to source our silk from elsewhere. And now, back to Ardougne. But not the normal way. One of the diary steps requires interaction with this lever. Well, technically not this lever, but we'll get to that. This teleports you to the wilderness. The really really deep wilderness. And that would be highly foolish on a hardcore or an ultimate Iron Man, let alone both at the same time. So I have scouted out the area. Make sure there's nobody currently over there. I'm looking at you. You stay out of here. Alright. Here we go. Teleport you deep into the wilderness. Yep, that's the plan. Please continue to show these messages. I want to not be able to accidentally click on this and be instantly teleported to the wilderness. And then, once we're over here, we immediately leave. That's an easy task in the wilderness diary, which I don't think we're going to be trying to accomplish, because, yet again, that's in the wilderness. For the Artie diary, we need to teleport from this lever. So back into the wilderness for a second time. Great plan. And we're out. So, there you go. Another way to get to Ardougne. Much more dangerous. Do so at your own peril. But now we can run around, completing the rest of these diary tasks. Here is the training area that we unlocked by completing Biohazard. Just need to go through the gate, and that is the diary task completed. People like to use cannons here, shooting all the ogres. Good for them. Decent spot to train range. Not what we're doing. Also, we don't have a cannon. That's probably something we're not going to get. Maybe we'll find a way we want to use a cannon at some point, but not right now. Not right now. 2 more tasks can be completed here in Ardougne. Checking our pet insurance. We have no pets. And then selling the silk. If we get a pet, we would need to get 500,000 coins together to make sure we don't lose it on death, which is kind of silly as a hardcore. But even if I died with a pet out, I would still want to continue to have it on the account, even if I didn't continue playing it. That'd be quite the shame. But now we have some silk to trade. To go 60, you need to start at 120, do a bit of bartering. And there we go. 60 coins for 1 silk. A fairly useful thing at some points in the game, selling silk. But without a bank or trading, not ideal. Not ideal. And now, we need to head south for the rest of the tasks. Next up, we need to check out Alex Hunting Emporium here in Yanil. Whole bunch of Hunter stuff. Have not touched Hunter yet. Only got the experience from the museum. But we'll eventually get around to it. Yet another thing on the massive list of things we haven't done yet. Didn't need to buy anything, so I'm not going to. And for the final 2 tasks, we need to head to the fishing trawler. Give a sword to Tyndall Marchant. He does stuff with swords here. You give him a rusty sword and 100 coins, and he will see what you get. Turned out to be an iron sword. Fantastic. There is a 1 in 96 chance that the sword will be nothing. And then you literally get nothing. And you have to go get another rusty sword. The task is not to give Tyndall Marchant a rusty sword. It's very specifically that he needs to identify it. And apparently, identifying it as not anything at all, literally a pile of rust, how did you manage to hold this together, doesn't count. Who knew? So, technically, there's a possibility somebody could go multiple swords in a row, has to go get another sword, comes back, it fails again. But with a nearly 1 in 100 chance of failing, it really shouldn't happen too many times. But now, we head out on the fishing trawler. We get the amazing camera shake. That completes the Ardougne area tasks. Let's turn that off for later. And then immediately leave. Let's choose a random world, I guess. We don't need to be on the fishing trawler right now. We brought none of the things that we would need to do fishing trawler. I just don't really want to deal with that right now. So you can just hop to a different world, and that spawns you up here, next to the Tower of Life. It's an interesting teleport. Not the most useful, because it also requires you to get into a fishing trawler game. So, in most situations, if you were at fishing trawler and you wanted to go to Ardougne, it'd be faster to just walk there. But this time, it was pretty convenient. So I'll take it. We need to talk to 2 Pints, who's outside the bar. A lot of times it seems like NPCs end up getting outside of the building they're supposed to be in. And then the doors automatically close after a certain time, so they're just trapped outside. I guess we let the bartender back in, so that's good. Easy tasks completed. And we get our reward. We can sell cats for 200 death runes. 10% better chance of thieving from stalls. And some drops at the Tower of Life will be noted. But the last one is the real important one. Teleports to the Ardougne Monastery. And crazily enough, infinite teleports. With how stingy a lot of the achievement diaries are for teleport usages, getting infinite from the easy diary, pretty crazy. So this is a fantastic way to get over here to this side of the map, which we'll be using pretty much all the time for quite some time, especially in combination with another transportation method. It's also not too far from a spirit tree over at the battlefield. We also have the Varrock teleport that gets us over that way. Also came with an antique lamp, which unfortunately requires the skill to be over 30, so can't use it on Herblore quite yet. So I think we're just going to use it on Prayer. Prayer is a decent choice for using a lamp on a Ultimate Iron Man. 2,500 XP. That's 33. Nice. I'm going to store my spade back with the tool leprechaun. I'm pretty sure it has the bank pin. Yep. As one of the few banks, quote unquote, that I use, that's usually where that comes up. We're not going to need these buckets, pigeon cage, knife, medical gown, gas mask, iron sword, priest gown. Just clear out the inventory. So there we go. An easy, infinite, free way to get over to this side of the map. But next, I want to really, really unlock one of my favorite transportation methods. So we'll see if we can do that next time. Goodbye.